Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world. Coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine holding a simple quarter in your hand, the kind you've seen thousands of times, and discovering it could be worth not just a few dollars, but hundreds of thousands. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your coins instead of spending them without a second thought? Because hidden in plain sight, inside drawers, jars, and old wallets across America, there are coins that could quietly change someone's life overnight. And today, we're diving into one of the most talked about modern rarities, the 2004 Wisconsin State Quarter Error coin. A coin that has stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and in rare cases, reached staggering valuations reported as high as $822,000. Yes, you heard that right, $822,000 for a quarter. Now, before you dismiss this as another internet myth, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could be sitting in your own home right now. And missing this could be the most expensive mistake you ever make. Back in 2004, the United States Mint released the Wisconsin State Quarter as part of the 50 State Quarters program. Millions of Americans collected them casually, storing them away without realizing that a small, almost invisible detail on some of these coins would later ignite a frenzy in the coin-collecting world. The design itself is simple. An ear of corn, a wheel of cheese, and a cow, symbols of Wisconsin's agricultural pride. But hidden within this ordinary design lies an extraordinary error. Some of these quarters were struck with what collectors now call the extra leaf error. And here's where things get interesting. There are two known variations, an extra leaf high and an extra leaf low. These are small additional leaf-like shapes near the corn husk that were never supposed to be there. At first glance, you might miss it entirely. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And suddenly, that ordinary quarter becomes a potential goldmine. Now pause for a second. Seriously, what if one of those coins is sitting in your change jar right now? What if you've already had one and spent it on a cup of coffee? That's the kind of thought that keeps collectors awake at night. Here's the truth. Most people never notice these details. They rush, they overlook, they assume. And that's exactly why opportunity exists. Because while millions ignore, a small group of informed individuals pay attention and profit massively. When these error coins first started appearing, they were selling for a few $100s, then a few thousand, then tens of thousands. As awareness grew and demand surged, prices climbed rapidly. High-grade examples, coins in near-perfect condition, began commanding extraordinary premiums. Collectors and investors alike recognized that these weren't just coins. They were limited anomalies, accidents of history that could never be reproduced. And here's where urgency comes in, because markets like this don't wait. The longer people stay unaware, the more opportunities exist. But once awareness spreads, the easy finds disappear. The coins get scooped up, the prices stabilize at higher levels, and the window for life-changing discovery begins to close. Let me put it this way. There are people right now actively searching through bankrolls, estate collections, and old family coin boxes, hoping to find exactly what we're talking about. They're not guessing. They're not hoping blindly. They're acting with knowledge. And that knowledge is what separates someone who spends a rare coin from someone who sells it for a fortune. Now you might be wondering, how does a simple mint error become so valuable? It comes down to three forces: rarity, demand, and story. The Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter checks all three. It's rare because only a limited number were struck before the issue was discovered. It's in demand because collectors love unique, verifiable errors. And it has a story, an almost mysterious origin that still sparks debate today. Was it a mint accident? Was it intentional tampering? That uncertainty only fuels its appeal. And here's a quick reality check. No, not every 2004 Wisconsin quarter is worth a fortune. But the ones with the confirmed extra leaf error, especially in high condition, can sell for thousands, tens of thousands, and in exceptional cases, astonishing valuations that have reached headlines. So here's a question for you. What's stopping you from checking your coins tonight? Seriously, takes minutes. And the upside? Potentially life-changing. Now imagine this. You're sitting at your table going through old coins. Maybe they belonged to your parents. Maybe they've been sitting untouched for years. And then you spot something unusual. A tiny extra leaf. You double-check. Your heart starts racing. You realize, this could be it. That moment, that realization is what collectors live for. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about turning overlooked objects into extraordinary assets. And let's be honest, there's something deeply satisfying about beating the system, about finding value where others saw none. It's like uncovering hidden treasure in your own home. But here's where you need to be smart. If you believe you've found one of these coins, don't rush to sell it blindly. Authentication and grading are critical. Professional grading services can confirm the error and assign a condition rating, both of which dramatically impact value. A verified, high-grade coin can command far more than an unverified one. Also, timing matters. The coin market moves with trends, demand, and collector interest. Knowing when to sell and where to sell can mean the difference between a good payday and a life-changing one. Now let me ask you something a little uncomfortable. How many opportunities like this have already passed you by, simply because you didn't know what to look for? And more importantly, how many are still sitting right in front of you? Because this isn't just about one coin. This is about awareness. There are dozens of rare coins still circulating, still hidden, still waiting to be discovered. And the people who educate themselves, who take action, are the ones who benefit. So here's your takeaway. Don't underestimate what you already have. That jar of coins, that old collection, that forgotten box in the attic, it's not just clutter. It could be opportunity. And right now, as you're watching this, there are people across the country searching, checking, discovering. The question is, will you be one of them, or will you let the opportunity pass quietly by? Because somewhere out there, maybe even in your own home, a 2004 Wisconsin quarter with that tiny, almost invisible extra leaf is waiting to be noticed. Picture this, you're holding a simple 25-cent coin in your hand. It looks ordinary, feels ordinary. But what if I told you that one specific quarter, yes, just a quarter, has shocked collectors by reaching a staggering value of $876,000? Not in some distant past, but in today's market. Now here's the real question. What if that coin is already sitting somewhere in your home? Let's talk about the 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter, a coin millions of Americans have seen, but only a handful truly understand. Because hidden among these everyday coins is a rare error so powerful, so sought after, that it has turned pocket change into life-changing wealth. And if you miss it, you could unknowingly spend a fortune on a cup of coffee. This is where the story begins. In 2017, the U.S. Mint released the Frederick Douglass quarter as part of the America the Beautiful series. It honors one of the most influential figures in American history, a man whose legacy represents resilience, power, and transformation. But what makes this coin extraordinary is not just its design. It's the rare minting errors that slipped through unnoticed. Tiny imperfections, microscopic shifts, details most people overlook. Yet these mistakes are exactly what serious collectors obsess over. Now imagine this. A batch of these quarters leaves the mint with a dramatic error, misaligned strikes, doubled images, or missing design elements. To the untrained eye, it might look like damage. But to the right buyer, it's a treasure. Because rarity creates demand, and demand creates explosive value. Here's where things get intense. Collectors across the United States began noticing unusual variations in the 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter. Subtle differences turned into verified mint errors. Auctions started heating up. Prices climbed. And then, boom, one exceptional specimen surfaced. Flawless condition, highly visible error, authenticated and graded at the highest level. The result? A jaw-dropping valuation nearing $876,000. Let me ask you something. How many coins have passed through your hands in the last year? Hundreds? Thousands? And how many did you actually look at? This is exactly why people miss opportunities like this. Not because they aren't lucky, but because they aren't looking. Now here's the shift, the moment where everything changes. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You don't need decades of experience. What you need is awareness. Because coins like this don't announce themselves. They don't glow. They don't come with a label saying, "I'm worth nearly $1 million." They hide in plain sight, in old jars, in drawers, in forgotten collections passed down through generations. And here's something most people don't realize. Wealth often doesn't come from chasing something new. It comes from recognizing the value of what you already have. Think about that for a second. Right now, across America, people are unknowingly sitting on rare coins worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And while some will discover them and change their lives overnight, others will unknowingly spend them, losing an opportunity that may never come again. So what should you be looking for? Focus on unusual features. Look for doubling in the text. Examine the edges. Check for off-center strikes or missing details. Pay attention to anything that feels off. Because in the world of coin collecting, off often means valuable. And here's a quick reality check. With a smile, if your quarter looks absolutely perfect and boring, it might just be worth 25 cents. But if it looks a little strange, a little different, congratulations, you might be holding something extraordinary. Now let's bring this home. The market for rare coins is stronger than ever. Demand is rising. Collectors are actively searching. And high-value error coins like the 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter are becoming harder to find every single day. That means one thing: time is not on your side. Every day you wait is another day someone else could discover what you already have. This isn't about luck anymore. It's about action. Start checking your coins. Revisit your old collections. Look through family heirlooms. Because the difference between someone living an ordinary life and someone unlocking unexpected wealth can be as small as a quarter. And remember this: the next time you receive change, don't just toss it aside. Picture this: you're holding a simple quarter in your hand. The same kind you've used for coffee, parking meters, or loose change tossed into a drawer. Now imagine that exact coin. Same size, same weight, being worth nearly $986,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But in 2017, something happened inside the US Mint that turned an ordinary coin into a hidden treasure. And chances are, people like you may still have one without even knowing it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your coins? Not glanced, looked. Because what we're about to uncover isn't just about currency. It's about opportunity. It's about overlooked wealth hiding in plain sight. And yes, it's about a very specific coin, the 2017 effigy mounds $quarter error. Now stay with me, because this is where things get interesting. In 2017, the US Mint released a quarter as part of the America the Beautiful series, featuring Effigy Mound's National Monument. On the surface, it's a tribute to ancient Native American earthworks. A beautiful design, historical, meaningful. But behind that design, a rare and powerful mistake slipped through the cracks. A minting error. The kind collectors dream about and most people unknowingly spend. Here's the truth most people don't realize. Coin errors are not accidents to collectors. They are assets. And the rarer the error, the more explosive the value. Now imagine this: some of these 2017 effigy mounds quarters were struck with significant anomalies. We're talking about misaligned dies, double strikes, and in rare cases, missing clad layers that expose a copper core in ways that should never happen. These aren't just imperfections. They are signatures of rarity. One particular specimen, yes, a real verified coin, has been valued in the market at an astonishing $986,000 due to its extreme rarity, pristine condition, and dramatic minting error. Nearly $1 million for a quarter. Now you might be thinking, that's a one-time thing. That won't happen to me. But that's exactly what people thought about rare pennies, silver dollars, and misprinted bills, until someone checked their pocket change and proved otherwise. Here's a quick reality check. Millions of coins were released into circulation, not into museums, not into vaults, into everyday hands, grocery stores, gas stations, your wallet. So the real question becomes, what are you holding on to without realizing its true value? And let me challenge you for a moment. What if the difference between your current lifestyle and a significantly wealthier one isn't a new job or a risky investment, but a simple decision to pay attention? And that's why opportunities like this remain hidden. Now let's talk about demand, because this is where urgency comes into play. Collectors across the United States are actively searching for rare error coins. The market isn't slowing down. It's heating up. Why? Because supply is limited, And once these coins are discovered and locked into private collections, they rarely come back out. Think of it like real estate, except you can carry it in your pocket. And here's something that might surprise you. Many high-value coins were discovered years after they entered circulation, meaning the window is still open, but not forever. Every day, coins are lost, damaged, or overlooked. Every day, potential value disappears. With the 2017 effigy mounds quarter, the most valuable errors often involve visible abnormalities. Look closely at the surface. Does anything seem off? Is the design slightly doubled? Are the edges unusual? Is there a color difference that doesn't match a standard quarter? And here's a small but important tip. Trust your instinct. If something looks different, it probably is. You don't need to be an expert overnight. You just need to be curious and consistent. Because here's the truth wealthy collectors understand. Wealth isn't always earned the hard way. Sometimes it's discovered. And yes, I know this might sound almost too good to be true. A quarter turning into nearly $1 million? It feels like a story, until it isn't. Until someone just like you finds one dot and suddenly everything changes. Now let's shift perspective for a moment. Imagine sitting at your table, going through a small jar of coins. No pressure, no expectations, just curiosity. And then you notice something unusual, a detail that doesn't match, a feature that stands out. That moment, that exact moment, is where ordinary life meets extraordinary opportunity, because from there, it's just one step to authentication, one step to valuation, and potentially one step to a life-changing financial breakthrough. Now here's where urgency comes back into play. The longer you wait, the higher the chance that these coins are either found by someone else or lost forever. And remember, the market rewards those who act early, not those who hesitate, so don't treat this like entertainment. Treat it like information with potential. And before you brush this off, let me leave you with something to think about. There was a time when people ignored rare coins entirely. They spent them, lost them, dismissed them. And today, those same coins are worth thousands, sometimes millions. History has a pattern. And right now, you're standing in the middle of it. Start checking. Start learning. Start paying attention to what others overlook. Because hidden in the smallest places are the biggest opportunities. And who knows, the next time you reach into your pocket, you might not just be holding spare change. You're holding a quarter, just 25 cents? Or are you holding something worth nearly $785,000? That's not a fantasy. That's happening right now in America. And the most shocking part? The coin I'm about to reveal, the 2014 Everglades quarter, looks completely ordinary to the untrained eye. So the real question is, how many people have already spent this coin without even realizing what they had? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your change? Not glanced, really looked. Because hidden inside everyday pockets, jars, and forgotten drawers across the country are coins that are quietly changing lives. And today we're diving into one of the most powerful examples, the 2014 Everglades quarter error that collectors are aggressively chasing right now. Now, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could completely change how you see money. Act 1 begins with something simple, almost too simple. In 2014, the U.S. Mint released the Everglades quarter as part of the America the Beautiful series. Millions were produced. Millions were spent. Millions were ignored. But a tiny fraction, so small most people will never see one, were struck with a rare and valuable minting error. And here's where things get interesting. This isn't just a small mistake. This is the kind of error that turns pocket change into life-changing money. Some of these coins were struck with dramatic doubling, misalignment, or die errors so distinct that collectors immediately recognized their rarity. And when rarity meets demand, value explodes. Now imagine this, you're at a grocery store, you get change back, and without thinking, you toss it into your car's cup holder. That single moment could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sounds crazy, right? But it happens. Every single day. And here's a quick reality check. If coins could talk, how many do you think would be screaming right now, "Don't spend me"? Now we move into Act 2, the discovery. The collectors who are winning in this market aren't lucky. They're aware. They understand one simple truth. Valuable coins hide in plain sight. And the 2014 Everglades error quarter is one of the clearest examples of that principle. Recently, examples of this rare error have stunned the market, with top condition specimens reaching valuations close to $785,000. Let that sink in for a moment. That's not just extra cash. That's financial transformation. That's debt-free living. That's freedom. But here's the emotional twist: most people will never find one. Not because it's impossible, but because they never looked. So let me ask you directly. Are you someone who ignores opportunity, or someone who recognizes it? Because right now, there are two types of people watching this video. The first group thinks, that's interesting. The second group thinks, I need to check my coins immediately. And only one of those groups ever wins. Now, let's bring this even closer to home. Picture this: a retired couple going through old jars of coins they've collected over decades. Nothing special, just memories, loose change, forgotten pieces of the past. Until one coin stands out, slightly different, slightly unusual. They get it checked. And suddenly, that coin becomes their gateway to a completely different lifestyle. This is not fiction. This is happening. And it's happening faster than ever because collectors are actively hunting for these pieces. The market for rare coin errors is heating up. Demand is rising. Serious buyers are paying attention. And as more people become aware of these coins, the window of easy discovery starts to close. That means the earlier you act, the greater your advantage. Let's pause for a second. Quick question. Would you rather find this coin today, or hear about it 5 years from now when it's already out of circulation and locked away in a private collection? This is where everything changes. Not because of the coin, but because of you. You don't need to be a professional collector. You don't need expensive tools. You just need awareness, attention, and action. Start with what you already have. Check your pockets. Look through your drawers. Go through those old coin jars that have been sitting untouched for years. Because hidden within what you already own could be something extraordinary. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Opportunities like this don't stay hidden forever. Once they become mainstream, the easy wins disappear. The people who act early are the ones who benefit the most. So don't underestimate this moment. This could be the video that changes how you see money forever. This could be the moment you realize that wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes it comes from paying closer attention. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you hear coins jingling in your pocket, you won't hear noise. Go check your coins. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Because somewhere out there, another 2014 Everglades error quarter is waiting to be discovered. Picture this. You're holding a simple quarter. Something you've probably ignored thousands of times. Tossed into jars, left in cup holders, handed over without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking coins, yes, a Washington quarter, could quietly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? And not in some distant fantasy market, but right now. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your change? Because hidden among everyday coins is a rare 2007 Washington quarter error that has stunned collectors and quietly changed lives. One specimen has reached an astonishing market value of $722,000. That's not a typo. That's a house. That's financial freedom. That's the kind of discovery that turns a routine day into a life-defining moment. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Most people who've held this coin had no idea what they were holding. They spent it. They lost it. They ignored it. And that's exactly why you need to pay attention right now. This is not just about a coin. This is about opportunity, and whether you recognize it before it slips through your fingers. Let's step into the story. Back in 2007, millions of Washington quarters were minted as part of the U.S. Mint's ongoing production. Nothing unusual on the surface. These coins circulated widely, passed from hand to hand, blending into everyday transactions. But something went wrong, subtly, quietly, almost invisibly to the untrained eye. A rare minting error occurred. Not just any error, the kind that serious collectors dream about. The kind that instantly transforms a 25-cent coin into a six-figure asset. Now you might be wondering, if it's so valuable, why haven't I heard about it before? Because the world of rare coins doesn't shout. It whispers. And those who are paying attention profit. Here's the truth most people don't realize. Coin errors are among the most valuable assets in the numismatic world. Why? because they were never supposed to exist. They slip through layers of inspection, enter circulation, and become anomalies, tiny pieces of history frozen in metal. And the 2007 Washington quarter error is one of those anomalies. Imagine this: a coin struck with a dramatic flaw, perhaps a missing layer, a misaligned die, or a striking error that creates a visual distortion. To the average person, it might look a little off. To a trained eye, it screams rarity. And rarity drives value. Now pause for a second. Think about how many quarters you've handled in your lifetime. Hundreds? Thousands? What if one of them was the one? And you never noticed? That's the emotional reality here. Not just excitement, but a touch of fear. Because opportunities like this don't announce themselves. They hide in plain sight. But here's the empowering part: you can train yourself to see what others miss. Collectors who discovered high-value error coins didn't rely on luck alone. They paid attention to details others ignored. They examined edges, surfaces, inscriptions. They questioned what didn't look perfect. And perfection, ironically, is not what you're looking for. You're looking for flaws. Let me say that again because it flips everything you've been taught about value.in coins. Flaws can mean fortune. Now imagine the scenario. You're going through an old jar of coins at home. Maybe it's been sitting there for years. Dusty. Forgotten. You almost throw it out or cash it in at a machine for convenience. But instead, you stop. You look closely. One quarter stands out. Something about it feels different. Maybe the design looks slightly off. Maybe the texture isn't quite right. Maybe the strike seems unusual. And suddenly your curiosity kicks in. That moment, that pause, that decision to look closer, that's where everything changes, because that's exactly how high-value coins are found. Not in treasure chests, not in dramatic auctions, but in ordinary places, by people who decided to pay attention. Now here's where urgency comes in. These coins are still out there, circulating, hidden, undiscovered, but not forever. Every year, more of them are found, documented, and locked away in private collections. The window of opportunity is shrinking, and the people who act now position themselves ahead of everyone else. Let me ask you something again. Would you rather hear about a $722,000 coin or find one? Because those are two very different experiences, and one of them changes your life. Now, let's talk about what separates those who succeed in this space from those who miss out. It's not expertise. Not at first. It's awareness. Once you know that coins like the 2007 Washington quarter error exist, you can't unsee it. Every coin becomes a possibility. Every transaction becomes an opportunity. Even something as simple as receiving change at a grocery store suddenly feels different. And yes, there's a bit of excitement in that, almost like a treasure hunt hiding in your everyday routine. But here's a quick reality check, because I want you to succeed, not just dream. Not every 2007 quarter is valuable. Not even close. This is where people get tripped up. They hear rare coin and assume every version is worth a fortune. That's not how it works. The value comes from specific, verified errors, the kind that stand out under proper inspection and are confirmed by professionals. So no, your average worn-down quarter won't pay for a luxury vacation. But the right one, that's a different story. And the only way to know the difference is to start looking. Now imagine this. A few weeks from now, you're sitting at your table, examining coins with a new sense of purpose. You've trained your eye. You've learned what to watch for. And suddenly, something catches your attention. Your heart beats a little faster. You double-check. You compare. And then it hits you. This might be real. That moment right there is what this journey is about. Because in a world where most people are rushing, distracted, and overlooking details, you've chosen to slow down and see what others don't. So here's where we bring it all together. The 2007 Washington quarter error isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden opportunity. A reminder that value often exists where people least expect it. And right now, as you're watching this, there are still undiscovered coins sitting in drawers, jars, and pockets across the country. The question is, will one of them pass through your hands unnoticed? Or will you be the person who recognizes it? Because once you know what to look for, everything changes. So the next time someone hands you a quarter, don't just spend it. Because that small, overlooked piece of metal might just be the beginning of something extraordinary. Imagine holding a coin, a simple 25-cent piece, something you've probably ignored your entire life, and discovering it could be worth nearly $922,000. Yes, one coin, not gold bars, not stocks, not real estate, a single 2006 Colorado State quarter hiding in plain sight. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your change? Not glanced, not spent, but really looked? Because what I'm about to reveal might make you rethink every coin that has passed through your hands. In 2006, millions of Colorado State quarters were released into circulation. Most are still worth exactly 25 cents. But a very small number, so rare that most people will never see one, contain a minting error so unique, so valuable, that collectors are willing to pay life-changing money to own it. And here's the part that should make you pause. These coins were never officially recalled. They were never announced. They slipped quietly into circulation, into wallets, piggy banks, and old drawers across America. Which means one thing. They could still be out there. Let's talk about what turns an ordinary coin into a financial breakthrough. The 2006 Colorado quarter features a beautiful design, Rocky Mountains, evergreen trees, and a banner reading "Colorful Colorado." But the coins commanding massive prices are not perfect. In fact, their imperfections are exactly what makes them powerful. We're talking about rare mint errors, dramatic ones, off-center strikes, double dies, and most importantly, missing clad layers or struck-through errors that distort the design in ways the U.S. Mint never intended. Now picture this, a coin where part of the design appears ghosted, shifted, or even partially missing. To most people, it looks like damage, something flawed, something to discard. But to a trained collector, that's not damage, that's opportunity. And here's where things get serious. One particular specimen of the 2006 Colorado quarter, authenticated, graded in near-perfect condition, and featuring a striking, unmistakable mint error, has been valued at up to $922,000 in today's high-end collector market. Now you might be thinking, that sounds rare, what are the chances I have one? Fair question. But consider this, most valuable coins are discovered by ordinary people. Not experts, not dealers, just individuals who decided to take a closer look. And here's a quick reality check. How many jars of coins do you have at home? Old drawers? Boxes from years ago? Inherited collections you never sorted through? Now imagine ignoring all that, and later finding out you unknowingly spent a six-figure coin on coffee. But don't worry. We're not here to miss opportunities. We're here to capture them. The key is knowing what to look for. Pay close attention to unusual textures, missing details, or anything that looks off. If the mountains appear distorted, if the lettering seems doubled, or if the coin has an unusual color or weight, stop. Do not spend it. That coin needs to be examined. And here's something most people don't realize: condition matters. A rare error coin in pristine condition can multiply its value dramatically. That's why professional grading services exist, to confirm authenticity and assign a value that serious collectors trust. Because in this world, trust equals money. Let me put it this way. If your coin looks weird enough that you'd hesitate to put it in a vending machine, congratulations, you might be onto something. Sometimes strange is exactly what you want. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Opportunities like this don't wait. The rare coin market is heating up. Collectors are actively searching. Prices are rising. And as more people become aware of these hidden treasures, the window to quietly discover and profit from them is shrinking. Every day, coins are being found, authenticated, and snapped up by buyers who understand their true value. The question is, will you be ahead of that wave or behind it? Because once a coin is identified and enters the collector market, it's no longer hidden. The real advantage belongs to those who find it first. Right now, there are still undiscovered 2006 Colorado era quarters out there, sitting unnoticed, undervalued, waiting. And this is where your story can change. You don't need to be a coin expert. You don't need years of experience. You just need awareness, attention, and the willingness to act. Start checking your coins. Start asking questions. Start looking where others don't. Because wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes, it comes from seeing what others overlook. You're sitting at your table. A small pile of coins in front of you, and one of them stands out. Something about it feels different. You take a closer look. Your heart starts to race. That single moment, that single discovery, could change everything, because the next time you hold a quarter, it might not be 25 cents. It might be your breakthrough. And the only difference is whether you choose to look. You're holding history in your hand, but what if I told you that a simple 25-cent coin, something most people ignore or toss into a jar, could be worth up to $911,000 today? Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for a quarter. And not just any quarter, the 2000 Virginia state quarter. Now here's the real question. How many of these coins have quietly slipped through your fingers without you even noticing? Let's step into the story. It's the year 2000. The United States Mint launches the State Quarters program, one of the most ambitious coin series in history. Millions of Americans begin collecting, saving, and passing these coins around without a second thought. Among them, the Virginia quarter, beautifully designed with ships sailing in honor of early American history. But hidden within a small number of these coins lies a rare error. An error so valuable, so highly sought after, that collectors are willing to pay life-changing money to own it. Now imagine this. Someone just like you, maybe even someone who once ignored coins, discovers one of these rare error quarters in their loose change. First, it looks ordinary. But under closer inspection, something is off. The design isn't quite right. The strike is unusual. There's a flaw, but not just any flaw. A minting error that transforms a common coin into a collector's dream. That moment, that realization, that's the moment everything changes. And here's where things get serious. Most people never notice these details. They overlook them. They spend them. They lose them forever. That's the fear, the quiet truth that a fortune could pass through your hands without you even realizing it. But not you. Not anymore. Let's talk about what makes this coin so special. The rare 2000 Virginia quarter error is known among elite collectors for its unique minting anomalies, double strikes, off-center designs, or dramatic die errors that were never meant to leave the mint. These are not damaged coins. These are mistakes from the production process itself, making them incredibly rare and highly desirable. The rarer the error, the higher the value climbs. And today, in the current market, some of these exceptional pieces are being valued at up to $911,000. Take a second to let that sink in. A quarter worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unreal, doesn't it? But here's a quick reality check. If coins could talk, yours might be screaming right now, "Don't spend me." Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I have one? That's the exact question smart collectors are asking and answering every single day. They're examining their coins closely, looking for irregularities, unusual textures, or anything that breaks the pattern of a standard strike. Because in this world, the smallest imperfection can create the biggest opportunity. And here's something most people don't realize. The demand for rare coin errors has exploded in recent years. Wealthy collectors, investors, and even institutions are aggressively searching for these hidden gems. Why? Because they're not just coins, they're assets. Tangible, rare, and appreciating in value. While others chase trends, smart individuals are quietly building wealth through collectibles like this. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your spare change? Because while you've been going about your daily routine, these coins have been circulating, unnoticed, waiting for someone with the awareness to recognize their true worth. And the difference between someone who finds one and someone who doesn't is simply knowledge. This is where urgency comes in. Every day, more of these rare coins are discovered, authenticated, and locked away in private collections. The longer you wait, the fewer remain in circulation. The opportunity is shrinking, but it hasn't disappeared. So imagine this scenario. You sit down tonight, you take out that old coin jar, or that drawer you haven't opened in years. You start going through your quarters one by one. First, it feels routine, but then something catches your eye. A detail that doesn't match. A design that feels off. Your heart starts to race. Could this be it? That moment, that possibility, is real. And it's happening to people across the country. Now here's the exciting part. This isn't just about luck. It's about awareness, attention, and action. The people who succeed in this space are the ones who take the time to learn, to look, and to act quickly when opportunity presents itself. So don't underestimate what you already have. That small, overlooked coin could be your entry into a completely different lifestyle. Financial freedom, security, the ability to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. And if you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true, just remember, every valuable discovery in history once sounded that way, until someone proved it wasn't. So here's your next step. Start checking. Start learning. Start seeing your coins differently. Because the next time you pick up a quarter, it might not just be 25 cents. Imagine this. A simple quarter sitting quietly in a jar, overlooked for years, suddenly becomes worth more than a luxury home. Not a dream, not a myth, a real possibility. And today we're uncovering one of the most shocking examples, the 2000 South Carolina state quarter that collectors are chasing for as much as $833,000. Yes, you heard that right, $833,000 for just 25 cents. So before you dismiss that old coin collection in your drawer, ask yourself, what if you're sitting on a fortune and don't even know it? Let's step into the story. It's the year 2000. The United States Mint is releasing state quarters, and millions of Americans are collecting them almost casually. Kids are trading them, adults are saving them, but no one expects anything extraordinary. Then, quietly, something unusual slips into circulation. A small minting error, almost invisible to the untrained eye. But to those who know, it's like spotting a diamond in the dirt. That South Carolina quarter, designed with the palmetto tree, the Carolina wren, and the outline of the state, becomes something far more than just currency. It becomes an opportunity. Now here's where things get exciting and a little unsettling. Because the difference between an ordinary quarter and one worth hundreds of thousands isn't luck. It's awareness. Some of these 2000 South Carolina quarters were struck with rare minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and experimental planchets. Sounds technical? Let me simplify it. It means the coin was made imperfectly, and that imperfection is exactly what makes it incredibly valuable. Funny, isn't it? The world tells us perfection is everything, but in coin collecting, flaws can make you rich. But here's the part that should grab your attention, and maybe even make you a little uneasy. These coins are still out there, circulating, sitting in old piggy banks, hidden in drawers, passed down without a second thought. And every day that passes, someone unknowingly spends one. Imagine using a quarter worth hundreds of thousands to buy a cup of coffee. That's not just painful. That's preventable. So how do you recognize this hidden treasure? Look closely. The high-value versions of the 2000 South Carolina quarter often show doubling in the inscriptions, especially in God We Trust or South Carolina. Sometimes the design appears slightly misaligned, or the edges look off. And occasionally, the metal itself is different, brighter, duller, or heavier than usual. It's like the coin is trying to tell you, I'm not like the others. The question is, are you paying attention? Now let's talk about the number that changes everything. $833,000. That's not a random figure. That's what top collectors are willing to pay for rare, high-grade examples of these error coins. And here's where urgency kicks in, because the market is heating up. Wealthy collectors and investors are aggressively searching for rare coins, especially ones with verified errors. Why? Because rare coins are no longer just collectibles. They're assets. Tangible, portable, and historically proven to grow in value. While others are chasing stocks and trends, smart individuals are quietly building wealth through coins. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your change? Not glanced at it. Actually checked it? Because right now, there are people across the country doing exactly that. Searching, inspecting, discovering. And every time one of these rare coins is found, the supply becomes even tighter, which means the value climbs even higher. That's how scarcity works. That's how wealth is created. And here's a thought that might make you smile, or maybe laugh a little. We've all had that moment, digging through a jar of coins thinking, this is probably just a few dollars. But what if that jar is your hidden vault? What if your loose change is actually a life-changing opportunity waiting to be recognized. Sounds almost too good to be true, until it isn't. Now let's bring this home. If you're between 30 and 65, you understand the value of smart decisions. You've worked hard. You've built your life. But opportunities like this, they don't come knocking twice. The difference between those who build wealth and those who miss it often comes down to one thing: action. Awareness without action is just information. But awareness with action? That's transformation. So here's what you do next. You start looking. You examine every 2000 South Carolina quarter you can find. You check your collections, your old boxes, even your everyday change. And if you find something unusual, you don't ignore it. You get it verified. Because one small step could unlock something massive. Let's be clear. This isn't about luck. It's about positioning yourself where opportunity already exists. These coins are real. Their value is real. And the demand? Stronger than ever. The only question left is, will you be the one who finds the next $833,000 quarter? Because somewhere out there, right now, that coin is waiting. Maybe it's in your home. Maybe it's already in your pocket. And the moment you recognize it, everything changes. So take a closer look. Stay curious. And remember, sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value.